Hello again. Western Cape Labour Department officials are conducting oversight visits on local farms. This follows a fight between Lesotho and Zimbabwe nationals last month over job opportunities in that area of South Africa. Ayesha Ismail is following this story for us, joining us now with some more this hour. Ayesha, good afternoon. Thank you very much for your time this hour on today. Some of the farm owners, I understand, they have been accused of hiring foreign nationals over local residents. What's been their response?
Well, Dan, I followed some of the Home Affairs as well as SAPS and immigration officials where they visited farms in the Robertson area. And the one farm where I visited, the manager on that farm was actually very open about the fact that he prefers, and there was also a woman who was also a manager on a nearby farm, and they were saying that they prefer to hire foreign nationals because of the work ethic from the foreign nationals. And on this particular farm that I visited this morning, the Saratoga farm, they employ more nationals from Lesotho than from this Robertson area. But let's take a listen to what the farm manager had to say about why they prefer to employ Basotho nationals.
Most people who work here is foreigners, but they are more than willing to work, and they never complain about any work. They in work every day, and on Mondays they are in work. If we ask them to work on weekends, the foreigners are the ones who are willing to come to work.
Now, Ayesha, just tell us about this oversight visit that the Western Cape Labour Department has been doing there.
Okay, so I'm now joined by the senior labour inspector here in the Western Cape, Cecil Isso. Mr. Isso, you and your team visited a number of farms today. Your intention is to go to about 200 farms in the next week.
Yeah.
What were your impressions today?
Well, the first intention for us was to see compliance with our laws. And so we are in the process now of collecting quite a number of documents to determine whether the employer complies or not. I personally have visited two, and although the first one we have not received the report yet, the one we are at now, we did find non-compliance around the national minimum wage. But also what we have seen is the percentage of foreigners versus South Africans, which is at about a ratio of 60 to 40 in favor of the national foreigners.
But it's interesting how we find ourselves here in the Western Cape in a very unique situation where it is not locals clashing with foreigners, but actually foreign farm workers clashing with foreign farm workers.
Yeah, it's unique. And if you then add to that the third controversial issue is the fact that the farmers are claiming that they are not in charge of the employment practices, but rather they are using what we so-called labor brokers to then kind of circumvent the administrative obligations and leave that with the labor broker. And in some cases you'll find that the labor broker is actually not South African. So he has a preference to bring people from somewhere else from South Africa to work in South Africa, which I find very strange. And it's something that we need to investigate, because you need to be registered with us to be able to employ people. And so we find that very problematic on our side.
But you were telling me earlier that in terms of your records at the Labour Department, you have absolutely no record of any applications or corporate visas being issued for any foreign farm workers in this Robertson area.
Correct. We might have received applications, but we are now working on decreasing the unemployment rate, and therefore we want to promote the employment of locals. And we would not approve corporate visas because we believe there is a demand for work here. And there are locals that can do the work. Why people are not recruiting local people, I would not understand that.
As the Labour Department, how are you going to remedy this?
Well, there's two things. I mean, the labour migration policy is something that we are looking at. And then obviously the expiry of the special dispensation for the Zimbabwean nationals, which is coming to an end. And those two things would be able to help. But the final thing is that you cannot use people as an employer on your ground, because you are also liable for bringing illegal people on your premises. And therefore we're taking it up with the farmers. We have a list of all the labor brokers, and we are in the process of registering them and issuing a fine for non-registration, so that we can then normalize the process, and that's our ultimate goal this week.
Just before you go, some of the farmers that I spoke to this morning were saying to me that they don't know why they are being targeted when the hospitality industry also employs almost 90% foreign staff.
If you remember, in the beginning of February, we did over 1,000 hospitality sectors to determine exactly the same thing, and the outcome has been reported already. So it is not about a particular sector, it's about where we identify the problem is. The second inspection we did today was in the hospitality sector. We are standing in front of a restaurant which is just inspected, which is not a farm. So we are not announcing where we are going, we're just making sure that we target the right places.
Thank you so much for your time. And that was David Eso from the Department of Labour here in the Western Cape.
Thank you very much, Ayesha Ismail, with a comprehensive update there by the Department of Labour's inspection of a number of workplaces there across different industries, including hospitality and farming.